Good evening. Canada's first major hurdle in its vaccine rollout is looking much more serious than first thought.
We knew Pfizer vaccine doses would be delayed this month. Today, we learned that next week, no shipments will arrive at all.
Ottawa has already been criticized for being too slow in vaccinating Canadians tonight. Growing concern about what that setback means for BC.
Just over 87,000 BC residents have been vaccinated so far. That's 1.7% of our population.
BC's vaccination rate matches the Canadian average, an average that many say needs to be ramped up dramatically. CTV's Penny Daflos reports.
The vaccination process had been slow but seemed relatively steady until this bombshell announcement.
For next week's deliveries have been deferred by Pfizer in their entirety.
No fresh supplies of the vaccine that's been the workhorse of BC's COVID-19 immunization efforts. 3/4 of administered doses have been from Pfizer's Sub-Zero vaccine, and nearly 6,000 doses expected next week are now out of the picture.
Which is very significant for us, and but something that we hope to be able to deal with.
BC still hasn't finished immunizing care home residents and workers or frontline medical staff, and the second booster shots are scheduled to begin Wednesday.
Hopefully this is a one-time interruption. What we can do in British Columbia is use the vaccine that we receive and use it effectively and on vulnerable populations, and that's what we're going to do, and that means second dose is particularly important.
Pfizer supplies are still arriving this week, but more emphasis will be on the Moderna vaccine going forward. New shots are more likely to be from that brand, but there's no denying vaccinations will slow to a trickle. Overall, Canada's vaccinated just 1.6% of the population compared to 3.7% in the U.S. The U.K. sits at 6.7%, and Israel is the global leader at a whopping 30%.
Pfizer assured me and Canada of equitable treatment.
The federal government, responsible for buying vaccine for every Canadian, tried to reassure the public we won't be left behind.
Some countries have been impacted more severely this week, or are impacted more severe next week.
The shifting timelines are cause for more frustration as pandemic-weary Canadians await their turn for the next step on the return to normalcy.
And Penny is here live now. Penny, there has been some concern about using all the doses we had to give people their first shot rather than saving some of those doses for the second shot. So what happens if we run out and can't give people that second dose within 36 days?
You know, Canada's top doctor was asked about that. She says 42 days between doses is okay, maybe even longer. So while the second dose begins for some British Columbians tomorrow on schedule, there is a bit of a buffer if there are more supply issues. Remember, Pfizer is upgrading its production capacity, leading to temporary shortages, but insists it'll be back on track with the promised number of doses that should be by the end of March, Scott.
All right, thank you, Penny.